I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Donald Trump once famously said that he could stand at Fifth Avenue and shoot and kill somebody and his MAGA Republican base would still support him. I will change the wording on that slightly and say Donald Trump could steal our nation's nuclear codes and try to conceal them in his shower with photographic proof, and MAGA Republicans and the right-wing extremist echo chamber will not only do nothing about it, but be supportive of his conduct. I want to show you how Fox and the guests on Fox have been responding to the unsealed indictment, where Special Counsel Jack Smith has brought 38 separate counts against Donald Trump for conspiracy, willful retention of national defense records, obstruction of justice, making false statements. This indictment has photographic evidence of the boxes being concealed. It has text messages from Donald Trump's aides discussing how Donald Trump is attempting to deceive the FBI and Department of Justice. It is as damaging as you can be. But for Fox, when they're confronted in this, their hosts either just start yelling because they figure if they just raise their voice and start shouting, that by shouting people go, oh, they must be smart, or they just completely lie, or they try to project and say, well, Hillary Clinton, well, Joe Biden this, Hillary Clinton this, or it's just so evident, it's so dumb. It's clear that they just haven't even read any of the documents at issue. So first, this is Jeanine Pirro, who still calls herself judge, although it's shocking to me that she was ever a judge, a far right-wing extremist liar who reports on Fox. I guess I shouldn't say reports, who just lies for a living on Fox. And here she is just yelling and shouting and it's like 33,000 emails, Hillary Clinton this. Here, play this clip.
This is all over Presidential Records Act, which is a civil suit, a civil issue. And so what they do is they put out this narrative indictment. Oh, this is a story of wrongdoing, national defense. And let's put in espionage. We can kind of tie it into the Russian collusion. So people will say, oh, it could have been the Russians. This is nonsense. And I want to know how many documents were altered? How many documents were destroyed? Zero. But who destroyed 33,000 documents that she lied about over and over again? Hillary Clinton. She destroyed them. That was tampering with evidence. That was obstruction of justice. And did the DOJ, the FBI care? They didn't give a damn. But now they care. What are they so afraid of? Let him run for office. And if he loses, then that's the end of it. I hate a country that is akin to a third world country. This is a banana republic. When you indict one guy running for president and the guy who's doing it is some old geezer who says, you know what? I don't know anything about it. The day, by the way, the day that we finally get under threat of contempt of the head of the FBI.
Okay, that same tactic was utilized by Mark Levin, who I think is trying to replace the role of right-wing extremist Tucker Carlson. Here's Mark Levin's response, just screaming and saying, Here, play this clip.
They're throwing all these process crimes and all these crimes that grow out of the criminal investigation against Trump. What did he do with the documents? Did he sell them to the enemy? No. That's why we have an Espionage Act, not to trick up a president. What did he do? Did he burn them all? No. The government has all the documents back. So there is no violation of the Presidential Records Act at this point. But they throw the book at him. They go after his attorneys. They make them testify. They're attorneys under the crime fraud exception to attorney-client privilege. That means he didn't have due process. His own lawyers were being subjected to interrogations, and they had hundreds of in-person people testifying in front of grand juries. Thousands of collections of documents for what? For what? And they indict him today? They indict him today in Miami? All of a sudden it's in Miami? All of a sudden we have a Florida grand jury? Because the moron in Washington figured out that there are venue issues that could lose him his case. This guy, this...
Here is another Fox host saying, we don't know anything about these pictures. I've been in that ballroom. We know nothing about these photos. We actually do know a lot about these photos. If you read the indictment, we know a lot about the photos. But first, let me play this clip.
The real Operation Warp and the focus, it's always him. It's any aspect of him. Also, those pictures you showed, we don't know anything about those pictures. Those could have been I've been in that ballroom. A lot of people have. There are not boxes lining the stage of that ballroom on a regular basis.
I didn't get it.
So were those moved and taken a picture? I mean, we just don't know the context of it. That's the photo right there. We don't know the context of any of those photos. And what are those records? Just because they're in boxes, they could be unclassified records. They could be notes. They could be, it's anything that tells us.
Okay, the photos that are in the unsealed indictment, they were taken by Walt Nauta. They were taken by Donald Trump's aide, okay? These aren't photographs that were taken by the FBI or the Department of Justice. These were text messages that Donald Trump's employees sent to each other. On that note, here is former Republican Congress member and a MAGA Republican, Chaffetz. This is what he talks about, kind of the same thing, just like hasn't read the indictment, doesn't know what he is talking about. And then he says, one of the pictures is a spilled box with documents that makes it look like it's sloppily handled. Here, play this clip.
Hours of those documents being released, suddenly you have Jack Smith going out there and making the case within hours. Really? If you look through some of these pictures, one of the pictures is this spilled box with documents. It makes it look like it's sloppily handled. But if you actually zoom in on that picture and look at it, it's pictures of like newspapers and pictures of Donald Trump. There's nothing classified in there.
And again, it's clear he didn't even read the indictment. Who's making it look like it's sloppily handled? That is a photo from Donald Trump's aide in real time. That isn't some photo that was taken after the fact. That is how they were maintained. And then it's also worth noting that the classified information in the photos that are in the unsealed indictment are redacted. And if you just read the indictment, you would know it says it's redacted. Here it is right here. Here's the paragraph. Nauta attached 2 photographs he took of the spill. Trump employee 2 replied, oh no, and I'm sorry POTUS had my phone. One of the photographs Nauta texted to Trump employee number 2 is depicted below with the visible classified information redacted. Trump's unlawful retention of this document is charged in count 8 of the indictment. The indictment explains it. They don't read the words, and then they just spread lies, and they spread all of this disinformation. Here is a guest, MAGA Republican Congress member Jason Smith from Missouri, who refuses to say if he finds anything objectionable about Trump's actions leading up to his indictment. Just watch what he does here. Play this clip.
This idea that the president was sharing and talking about top secret, top classified stuff with people he shouldn't have been talking to them about, and maybe withholding these documents from the National Archives when he knew better, or that he kept them stringing along. Is there any part of that that makes you think, yeah, you didn't behave in the best way?
You know, he's not the current president. What really alarms me is what the FBI whistleblower that came forward last week, that actually his allegations of illegal activity of the current president, which is Joe Biden, that is extremely alarming. And all these whistleblowers that came forward, I've had numerous whistleblowers in the Ways and Means Committee that came forward about issues with the Department of Justice, issues with the IRS, and issues about investigations
that's all
of
a fair
prominent
point, Chairman. All
individuals.
A fair point and worth
that's huge
exploring.
concerning.
You're quite right. But I am curious what you make of Donald Trump's behavior here in this particular case here, and with what we're told were hundreds of documents over the course of this period.
You know, the facts will play out, Neil, whenever we look at this. But what we do know on the face is that it seems like it is a double standard going after Donald Trump, which the American people are not going to be favorable about that. And I think Joe Biden and his Department of Justice is going to see exactly how much they disagree.
You don't find anything objectionable in what you've seen thus far in Donald Trump's behavior?
What I find objectionable is the DOJ has so many greater issues to be investigating and looking at instead of the leading opponent to the current president of the Justice Department that's controlled by him.
Understood.
That is alarming, and I think that needs to be looked into.
Chairman, thank you very much for taking.
And just look, here is the one pro-democracy host who they have on Fox, Jessica Tarlov, who actually does a very good job. So you see here when she tries to make a point, what do the hosts do on Fox? They go, but Hillary Clinton this, Hillary Clinton that. Play this clip.
You have pictures of them.
So if Hillary actually does get rid of things.
Here we go. This has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton. No, it doesn't. If you want to argue and you want to talk about, again, the difference between gross negligence and extremely careless, a lot of people have that conversation. But today, you are looking at boxes of classified documents strewn across a public place, also that were transported to another location, even to the point whoever the family member who texts, I won't be able to fit all the boxes on the plane. Whatever shall we do? Come on,
Katie. But as the judge did say, these are presidential personal records, which he has the sole authority to make personal, just as the Bill Clinton sock drawer case proved, and just as an Obama judge ratified. That is the law. It's a civil situation. It's not criminal. So this is all nothing.
Well,
but Jessica Tarlov is able to get this important point across. Play this clip.
I was struck by a lot of what the judge just said. Mostly the fact that she didn't address the documents that were panning across the screen, that there were documents found in the bathroom, in the shower, in the ballroom, in his bedroom, in his office, that there were documents pertaining to our nuclear programs, pertaining to our weaknesses and our allies' weaknesses, what makes us vulnerable, clearly a national security risk.
Folks, it certainly isn't news that Fox is spewing. It is pure, unadulterated, weird Trump propaganda. It is so anti-American. Look, we know from the indictment that Donald Trump stole nuclear codes. It's unquestionable. It's in there. There are photos. There are text messages. This is very detailed stuff that's happening. And Fox is like, whatever. We're okay with it. And then they just yell and scream. It is pathetic, and we need to call this out here. It isn't about being a Democrat or a Republican, or this should be about being an American. Donald Trump is a criminal traitor, and he needs to be called out. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers thanks to your incredible support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, and wherever you get audio podcasts, subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast, and have a great day.
Lock him up. Indictment season is upon us. Celebrate with the new Indictment season t-shirt and v-neck exclusively at store.MeidasTouch.com.